So this is the first in the battery of tests that they want me to do to prepare for the heart transplant. It is, I believe, called a right heart catheter. Now, I've had a catheter before. It was years ago. It was a few years, within the first few years of me being diagnosed. And I don't think they had any evidence that I had blockages, but I think it was kind of a let's get in there and see what's going on. And I respect that. And I don't remember a lot because it was a while back, but I do remember checking in the hospital and they started an IV, standard procedure, especially when you have a heart problem. And they sent me down to whatever exam room they were going to use. And I remember they shaved my groin area, so because they were, or at least the right side, because they were going to go into the vessel right there in the leg. I remember laying flat, and they were like, I don't remember if they warned me. I don't think they did, but there was a very sharp pain, and supposedly that wasn't the catheter, that something else was. I'm not sure what happened. But it was startling. It was more intense than I would have expected, but then it was over, and I laid on a table, and they pumped me with occasional dyes, and I had monitors around me where I could see it show up on the screen when they would do the dye, and you could see the blood vessels just kind of appear around my heart. You could see it beating, and then it would fade back out. It was really neat to watch. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show. And they warned me that one of the dyes was going to make me feel like I've got to pee, and to try not to, and it made me feel like I already had, like on my own, just started peeing, but I didn't, so that's good. They sent me back up to the room after, and it didn't take very long. I want to say 20-30 minutes, but I'm really not sure. Didn't exactly have a watch, but they sent me back up to the room on like the 3rd or 4th floor of the hospital, and they put a beanbag in that area, and they made me sit still for a couple of hours. And I remember I had to use the bathroom, and they brought me the thing they give guys to use the bathroom in, and I couldn't. I had to really bad, but I couldn't. And the nurse initially said, well, let me get a catheter. I'm like, catheter, just give me a thing, I'll try. Well, I wasn't listening, but she was trying to tell me that a lot of times the people afterwards can't pee. And so I waited and I tried, and it wasn't working. I got to where it was really, really bad, and I had to wait for her to find time to come back. I thought I was going to explode. So that was an interesting experience and somewhat comical afterwards, and very uncomfortable at the time because there was a lot of fluid came out. They had one of those kits where it's all the stuff in a tub, and you rip the top off, and it overflowed. So you had to grab something else and do a switcheroo. So they expect that much to come out, and I had more. So that's a little alarming. But this was a very different experience. When I got there, they were talking as if it was going to be pretty much the same sort of thing. When they called me, when the doctor's office called me, they said it was a no dye heart cath, and I didn't know what that meant. But hey, I'm not gonna have to worry about the feeling of going to the bathroom. And they sent me information in the mail, and it was full of all kinds of stuff about blocked arteries and angina and heart disease and stents and angioplasty and all this stuff that they would send out, I guess, in a normal situation. And they had me stop my Coumadin, which is a blood thinner, several days before the procedure, which was not necessary. And when I got there to the hospital, they're running me through the same sort of things. It's just a day stay unless they have to put in a stent that'll be overnight. We'll send you up to a certain floor. And I didn't get like the private hospital room like I did the first time. Of course, this is a completely different time, completely different hospital. And I just got one of those sort of emergency room type rooms. It's small, it has a pull curtain and a glass door they can close, and there's not a lot of room in there. Now, when the doctor finally came in, he told me that they were just going to go through my neck, and it wasn't a big deal. That I didn't need to stop taking my Coumadin, that we were probably going to be repeating this procedure every so often because it checks on the status of the heart and the lungs. I don't completely understand it, but they were measuring pressures and oxygen levels, and I've gotten the test results and they're all low, but when the doctor came back, he was like, everything's okay, which I took to mean it was low, but it's where we expect it. Kind of looking for other problems, and they didn't find any, so that's a good sign for me for being eligible for a transplant. There was one amusing little scene where the nurse came in, the doctor's coming to try and tell me what's up, and the nurse came in there with him and made it a point to tell him that it wasn't on the paperwork what kind of procedure. They were just going to go through his neck. And he was like, well, it's on there. It's just, and she almost started to argue with him, and he shut her down. He was like, well, we'll cover that in just a minute. Let me talk to the patient. It was a little bit rude that she chose that time to bring up this frustration. The nurse herself, when shaving, said that they may or may not have to go there, but it's good to go ahead and get that out of the way. So why she was inappropriately trying to fuss with him while he's trying to tell me about my results, I do not know. So this is test number 1. I took the camera along. I did some recording. I thought I would share just so you can see what I went through. Figured it'd be a little easier to, or possibly more informative to take some footage while I was there. I asked one guy about doing it, and he didn't mind recording in the room, but he said no one's ever asked that before. I said, well, I'm trying to document and keep a log of what's going on because I want to be able to share with others. I did not ask about taking it, having my girlfriend take it in the room and film the procedure. I'm pretty sure they would have said no. The guy himself said they're not going to let her in there at all. I go by myself. So, and that's no big deal because it ended up not being a situation where there was cool stuff on the monitors. They just put the thing in my neck. Had a little panic because they had to cover my face to get, I guess, to keep me safe. I don't really know. I didn't like it. I didn't like being completely covered up. The lady did move the towel a little bit so I could see, and I managed, and the medicine started kicking in, and then I was relaxed, and it went by pretty quickly. And back to the room. Well, back to a waiting room for a few minutes. They checked my blood pressures a few times, and they sent me back to the room.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yay, there he is.
So this is my first procedure for this experience for the heart transplant. But I've had a heart catheter before. Today, heart catheter.
Catheter.
They get to go squirt me inside with ink and look at all the blood vessels.
Exciting.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing a documentary. It's kind of weird.
So, I should ask how you're feeling mood-wise. Are you relatively calm?
Yeah. Irritable. Just because it's so early and I've got very little sleep. We're not normally, as you know, we're not normally up this early. And we didn't get much sleep to begin with, so. The last time I had one, they didn't find anything. Of course, that was years ago, so. My diet is better, but it didn't get immediately better. I'm more nervous about them starting the IV and the catheter. As I remember the last time, that was the one painful part. Is when they did something. I don't know if it was when they inserted the sheath or when they gave me an anesthetic or local, but there was a really sharp pain for a second. Really sharp.
And then they tell you not to move, right?
And I'm pretty sure they said this wasn't going to hurt. And it was a little bit later. Not looking forward to that experience. And I don't like laying on my back. And I'm going to have to lay on my back during this, I am pretty sure. Assembly line procedures.
What's that?
Assembly line procedures.
Yes.
They line people up and get them started with IVs and they wait until it's their turn. I won't be going back anytime soon, probably.
I don't even remember how long these take, like when the actual cath is happening.
I want to say like 20 minutes, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's very long at all. You'll have to watch the time for me because I may be asleep. I'm kind of hoping I'll get down there. Then again, if they have the TVs and monitors like they did last time and I get to see it, I may get a little intrigued. remember who I was telling last night. I was like, the last time I could actually see my blood vessels, see my heart beating for a split second every time they injected me.
That's kind of cool.
It was very cool. And whoever I was telling was like, you're probably the only person who would ever say that.
Oh, no. Yeah, I would totally watch it if I could. Unless I was, in a really bad situation. If it was something a little more routine like today, even if it's not exactly routine, I'd watch it.
I'm surprised I got enough sleep to actually have sand in my eyes. I can't think of anything constructive to say right now.
No, it's okay. I'm going to actually stop for now.
The grumpiness. You missed the good stuff. You did. You missed the grumpy.
I'm sure there's more to come.
Yeah, somebody's got to come in and charge me up. Somebody's got to come in and, have me breathe deep again and ask me if I'm swelling again. All the same questions again and again. That's what they do. I understand. Gotta be sure. And I'm an allergic fall risk. Apparently I'm allergic to falling. Which I can't argue with.
I would be concerned if you weren't.
Yeah, let's see, I figured that was a bruise right there, but apparently maybe it's a rash. I don't know. From the other day, I missed a step. The time I get out, I'm going to be able to start a bad jewelry store. Braces on every end. And get home, 2 or 3 days, take a shower. Be like, where did that come from? As long as I don't end up with a toe tag.
So other than the snarkiness of all of this, how are you doing?
It's a little bit anxious just because I want to get it over with. Tired of sitting here. Tired of answering the same questions.
So I cut the camera off while they did the EKG, but the EKG shows some squiggly lines, so we'll see what they say about that.
EKG always shows squiggly lines. I'm surprised he didn't try to switch sides again or double check, because usually it says 2 of the leads are reversed.
Yeah. Maybe he knew what he was doing.
Perhaps. Maybe there was a note that tends to happen.
So far everybody seems to know what they're doing, so that's good. He's getting asked the same questions 10 times.
Oh, there.
Standard hospital procedure.
My name's Andy. I'm just going to do an EKG on you, okay?
My legs are cold.
It's chilly in here.
She took my blanket away. Yeah, so just talked to the doctor, and they're doing, what was it,
Right heart catheterization.
Right heart catheterization, which I didn't realize was different than normal. They're not looking for blockages. They're looking for pressures and such. So that makes more sense given my situation. The first time I remember being told that. Plus, with me being a transplant possibility patient, they will probably be repeating this every so many months. So, but the good news is they're going to go in my neck. I don't necessarily have to stop the Coumadin, and I'll be able to set up afterwards. I like that. I think that's my favorite, being able to sit up, because I hate laying on my back. So they were waiting on me, but apparently they walked away.
Yeah.
And I've got to pee. So I guess
everything.
I just go do that on my own. Maybe we should take a moment for me to go to the bathroom.
All right, and we'll cut out there. Stay tuned. Post-procedure. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
It's nice and relaxed, which I haven't had in a while. That's nice. It went a lot quicker than I expected. The most difficult part was them covering my face.
Why did they do that? Did they say?
I guess it's just, no, they didn't really say, other than I think they have to do it because of where they're going in on my neck.
Yeah.
But I told the lady I was going into a panic attack, and so she pulled up enough for me. I was like, can I at least see? And she pulled up enough for me to see, and that helped a lot. Plus the medicine was starting to kick in, so that helped. but it went really quickly, faster than I expected.
Yeah, I went down and got breakfast, and I was up here within like the first, I think, 20 minutes, and then a little while later, Dr. came in and said everything went well. So
Yeah, and half the
less
time
than an hour.
I was gone or close to half the time I was gone, I was spent like in another room taking my blood pressure and stuff before they sent me back here.
So do you feel a little loopy, a little sleepy?
I do feel a little bit loopy, not too bad. It's funny, I got an itch on my shoulder blade right when they started, right when they were about to start, and I was like, is there any chance somebody could scratch my shoulder blade? And I was like, sorry. And the lady come over, she's like, I can dry.
Aw.
It's a really bad time to get an itch. But I didn't get to see any cool stuff because they didn't do the dye, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Didn't take long. The pinch wasn't too bad. The local. And it's nice to feel relaxed for a change. But this was a lot different than I expected. Because they weren't looking for the blocked arteries, they were just looking for pressure.
All right.
So now I've ordered a sandwich.
Mm.
And I got the impression I won't have to be here much longer than an hour. Because of the site that they use and the simplicity of it. They told me some people request no sedation so they can go home quicker. I'm like, I'm not in that big a hurry, sedate me. Relax me. I need it.
Yeah.
I'm going into a panic. You give me a little bit more before you send me back to the room. No, that's all you need. It's alright.
It's alright. I guess that's it for now. We'll check back in later.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
There's really not much to this. They may be repeating it every so often.
Okay.
Just to keep track of how things. The doctor came and spoke to you, but I haven't talked to him.
Yeah, that's why.
Assuming he'll come back to talk to me. But
I think he will. He asked me to write down any questions that I might have. So, and if you have any, I'll write them down. So, but that appears to be it for now. So we'll
yeah.
update as necessary.
So step 1. 1 test down.
Yay!
Question mark more to go.
And scene. So, just a slight update. We're dealing with low blood pressure and possibly from the sedation, so it's
Apparently happens to some of the younger guys.
So you're feeling dizzy yet, or how do you feel?
I am feeling a bit lightheaded.
Lightheaded, okay.
A bit sleepy too. And I really didn't get hardly any sleep last night.
Okay.
yeah.
I
Sleepy
think
breath.
you're not feeling too good, Brad.
Yeah. So we'll just, I guess, stay updated.
Just wait this out.
Yep.
Because that's what I do a lot of anymore. I don't feel good. Wait it out. Now, after laying down for probably 20 minutes on my back, which I hate to do, and sort of dozing in and out, I started to feel a little better, sat back up, my blood pressure came back up. I did notice that my oxygen dropped down to like somewhere between 95 and 89 while I was laying on my back. So I thought that was interesting for whatever reason, laying that way. It makes it a little bit tougher for me. But it was good to feel better, of course, and it was good to sit back up because I've said it several times now, I hate laying on my back. Now, I apologize. I should have maybe recorded a quick something right before I left or right after leaving. I didn't think about that. I was ready to leave, ready to get on with my day. The only thing I'd had all day was a sandwich. I think it was probably 3 in the afternoon when I finally left there. 2 or 3, I'm not really certain. I apologize. It didn't take all day, but it took a fair amount of time. I didn't, they said if I was doing good, I'd leave in an hour. It probably left an hour and a half, 2 hours later. Big deal. I did have a bandage, small bandage with tape over it right here on my neck that I did think much of and left that on through the night. My neck did start to get a little stiff as the night went on. Next morning I got up and we carefully peeled it off, and I went and showered, and I just kind of carefully patted around it and dabbed it dry and didn't do any scrubbing. And it was tender to the touch. Not that I spent lots of time touching it. And the day after, my neck was kind of stiff, but not really bad. The day after that is already starting to feel better. It was Thursday that I had this procedure. It is Saturday, and I'm feeling alright. So I don't want to play with it, and I don't know how well it's going to show up. But I believe that's it right there. So I'm doing okay now. As okay as I get anyway. Now I did mention to the doctor when he came in to talk to me, I mentioned a concern about the sharp pain, and I should probably clarify more. The first time I had the procedure years ago, when they went in through my groin, they had me on the table, they took me down, and I think that it was somewhere around that point that they put in the sheath or the cable or something that they were using to go into that groin or go into that area, that vessel. And there was a quick sharp pain. It was very surprising. I wasn't expecting it. I don't think they warned me. I think they tried to make like it wasn't going to be much of anything at all. And it kind of more made me want to jump off the table. But it was gone as soon as it came, and it wasn't a problem after that. I mentioned that to the doctor, that is it going to be the same kind of thing, and he didn't understand what I was talking about. He's like, there was no reason for that to happen. I'm sorry it happened to you, but that's not how it was. He's like, was it here? I'm like, no, this was states away years ago. I really can't comment, he said, on what they did to cause that. Well, that's not going to happen here. When we do it, there's going to be a bee sting for the local, and then you won't feel the rest. And it was like two, maybe three little bee stings, no big deal. And then I didn't feel them put the thing in. I had to ask if you gotten it in or starting. When we were done, it went so quick to me that I was like, we're done? Really? I think I asked them twice. They did start giving me, I guess through my IV, some sort of medicine to relax me right as I was starting to have that panic attack. And they're like, do you feel anything? And I had just started to feel a little something. So it did relax me. I did calm down. Things weren't a big deal after that, thank goodness. And I did spend, 15-20 minutes in sort of a recovery area. And that's all kind of hazy. I mean, I sort of remember it. I remember listening to some doctors and nurses talk about not work things over in the corner, whatever. And the lady checked on me a few times, and they were taking my blood pressure like every, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And then they took me back to the room. And the blood pressure kind of dropped. The doctor, when he came in the second time after the procedure to talk to me, he was like, with your condition, your blood pressure is probably already kind of up and down, and the anesthesia doesn't help. So, now that's clearing out, your blood pressure's come back up, you should be okay. This is just the first in a series of tests. The next ones aren't going to be at the hospital. They're going to be at different like x-ray and lab, imaging labs, and the first floor of the heart center. So I may or may not be in a situation where I can take this with me, because it's, I don't want to invade anybody else's privacy. I don't want my camera to get broken, lost, or stolen, and we'll just cross that bridge when we get there, but I'll at least record and talk about what happened. If you have any questions, anything you want to ask, feel free to ask. Worst thing I can say is I don't know, but I can try to give you my experience. I am not a doctor, so I'm not knowledgeable. I'm just trying to pick up the things that I can. There's so much I don't truly understand. So thanks for watching, and hang in there.